So hey guys, I am back at it again, and this time I want to talk about Zeta's blog. She released a blog talking about why she decided to finally join Love Island. I say finally, but why she decided to actually do it this time. And y'all know, like, you don't have to have seen her blog to listen to this. I definitely stress, y'all know I keep saying support, support, support. You don't have to be Team Zeta, Team Bria, team, whatever you are, whatever, like, because we can always go back and forth about Sydney, Phoebe, Zeta, Bria, Cachet, Trina, I don't know, Justine, Rachel, whatever, Sally, Mercedes, we can always go back and forth about the different couples, the different people, but this is so much deeper and so much just, y'all know I'm always talking about being intentional. I'm always talking about what you can pour into yourself and pour into others. And so this experience for me, this Love Island has been just amazing for me. And Zeta has just been just a jewel. She's just been special. So I highly, highly recommend it. If you have not taken the time to subscribe to her blog, it's literally like $3 or $5 a month. And she puts in little nuggets every week. You don't even have to be a Love Island fan to take away. Like, I just think anybody, like, wherever you are in life, it's so relatable, and she's just allowed herself to be so vulnerable. So y'all know I'm not going to be telling, like, because she has put so much work and she has done an amazing job, and just you can tell she's put her heart and soul into it, and that she has taken the time to really put out something that she wants to reflect in a beautiful way. So I'm not going to take away from her bag. So if you want the full details, then you definitely need to go ahead and make sure you're subscribed. It's so worth it. It is so, so worth it. But I did want to talk about the topic that she talked about, and what brought you to Love Island? Because I think it resonates with me so much. First of all, her very story resonates with me in ways that I'm going to go into detail for my story. That's definitely like not necessarily a hint to what she said. Like, y'all got to go find that out on your own. But just talk for me. What brought me to Love Island on this? And I know it sounds like, what? Yeah, girl, you went on Love, but like, it was really deep, like, because I have met so many people, like, since I started doing the videos, and just even online, just, when you start hashtagging, you find a community of people that you just start to connect, and it's like, oh girl, like, we're gonna watch. So then, like, in the next year, you start looking for each other, and then different things you notice, things you have in common. So it's just been amazing to me, and I definitely want to keep that community growing. And so this is what this platform is for. And so I'm going to share my story. I don't want to hear some of you guys, because that has been, like, absolutely beautiful to see. Because I know, like, I have a small, like, amount of things, like a little small pool of people and stuff that I know of what has brought us to Love Island. But to read so many of the comments on Zeta's blog and even on her posts, like, it's amazing. The stories is so much deeper than you would think. Now, for me, that I was somebody, I've said it before in some of my other videos, I was not somebody who really watched TV. I had no idea, y'all, like, what Love Island USA, UK, I had no idea what Love Island was until season 2. And so for me, like, I was, I just was like, ah. But as it would be, like, I had my baby in 2020, like, right before the pandemic happened. When I say right before, I mean literally the week before everything closed. And then prior to that, my husband and I had purchased several businesses. And that was in November 2019. So we're going into the pandemic with new businesses that we really didn't have a clue. We had obviously done our research on some level, but it was definitely new territory for us all. And there was almost like no room for error, because you're already going in new, and now it's a pandemic. Like, we definitely planned, like, when you go in with business plans, you definitely plan for recessions, things like that. There was no way we had planned for a pandemic. So, it was a lot. And so my husband was really, really in the stores, making sure that everything was staying afloat, making sure the employees that we had, were good, because now you have people looking and depending on you on a whole nother level, not including the family, the children. So he had his own pressures. And as it would be, like, as we went deeper and deeper into the quarantine and that. Now, the blessing was we were already a homeschooling family, which I keep saying I'm going to do, and I am going to share more about that. But we were already a homeschooling family, so we didn't go in the shock of being homeschool or having to deal with the kids on that. So we were definitely blessed in that realm. It was still an adjustment having a 6-year-old who has been just him and all the attention on him to now having to deal with another person. But between the isolation from COVID, and also I helped take care of my parents. And so with us not knowing how COVID affected the body and all those things, my parents are both high risk or, immune compromised. So it wasn't even an option for me in my mind to put them at risk until we knew a little bit more. So for quite some time, I was really by myself. And then also we're in the city, or we were in the city at the time. We've moved since then, but we were in the city. And so we constantly were hearing the protests, the helicopters coming down the street, because so it was just a lot. It was a lot going on. And it sent me into postpartum, as I was already kind of dealing a little bit with postpartum and, the normal baby blues that you hear about. Nobody told me about postpartum psychosis. I had never heard of it, never thought of it. And it started out, and forgive me, I've done a video on it before, but now I can't even think of it, what it's called. But when I would nurse, I would have this feeling of doom and super anxiety. I can't even describe the anxiety that I would feel. And so I thought, oh my God, okay, look, you are just too into this news with the coronavirus, with the protests, trying to see what's going on. You just need to cut it off. And so I tried to do the things naturally to kind of, help myself, kind of okay, this is, I'm just doing this too much. I need to kind of go back and step back. And I did try to reach out to doctors. My OBG just left the practice, literally right after I had my baby. And then on top of that, trying to find a psychiatrist at that time was extremely difficult because there were so many people struggling with mental health. And I was going seriously into postpartum psychosis where I was seeing stuff and it was just awful. It was awful. I did not know what to do. My husband's hands were kind of tied, and he was still there for me, definitely very supportive. My parents were at a distance. I mean, it was the saddest, the most beautiful thing and saddest thing you could ever see at the same time, because we didn't know, and because they are so immunocompromised, they would come and park beside me in my backyard, and I would just roll down the windows, and they roll down the windows so they could see the baby and just kind of be with me. And then I got to a place where we could sit outside and that, but I couldn't get medications. I couldn't get anything. So eventually I was okay, something's got to change. So I made the decision to isolate. I was well, I'm going to isolate myself and the kids until we can feel we're safe. And then I'm going to my parents' house because I need help. I did not feel like myself. And so I got there and my mom was watching Love Island, and I've told you before, and if you haven't seen any of my videos before, I'm not a huge TV person. I'm getting into it, but at the time I really was not a TV person. So I'm she's watching these stupid reality shows, whatever. And I got hooked, and it was the best thing ever. It helped me so much. It helped me take my mind off of things. Now, mind you, this is before I started any YouTube vlogging, but I became so vested in Justine. I loved everything about her. She represented what we don't see so often. She was a Black girl. She was Black at a distance. She would show herself without makeup. She would show herself with the hair up, with the hair in the back. She allowed herself to be so vulnerable, and she just represented a culture that we don't always get to see. And to see her and Caleb win was just this is awesome. After all we've been through this year, this is great. I was so vested, and I just genuinely love, and I still love her spirit. So watching her and this couple that you've been so vested in, when shiggity hit the fan, y'all, I was just done, because they had helped me so much through this time. I was going back looking at other seasons. This was Love Island is just something that was so helpful to me and coming out of that. And of course, it didn't alleviate everything, but it allowed me to take my mind onto something else and into positivity. So when that stuff happened with Caleb and Justine, it broke my heart. But even more than that, what was more frustrating to watch was how I felt it broke Justine. And I even still feel like she hasn't fully recovered, because I feel like, even if you're a fan of Justine, y'all, definitely hear me out and let me know what you think in the comments. But I don't feel like she allows herself to be completely vulnerable the way she did before. And she's a lot more self-conscious. And when I would imagine that was very embarrassing. You feel, oh my goodness, so many ways. You feel heartbreak, embarrassed. You feel, oh, I just can't even imagine. And then also, I've lived in LA before. I lived in LA for a few years. So I definitely know what that's like, especially being a girl of color. And I can't even imagine on her level trying to break into a business where you're constantly being, well, not even being told, you're just kind of like looked over, because she's so talented. But a lot of times, unfortunately, if the Black quota has been reached, if you will, then you're kind of not needed. So if it's a Tika Sumner or whatever, which I love Tika, okay, y'all? So it's no shade to nobody who has made it or at the, but it is a harsh world sometimes in LA. And I didn't necessarily love it for Justine. And even though I'm definitely proud of her for doing the challenge, I see her doing all these things, I feel like she has the potential to do so much more. But I feel like whatever happened in that situation, it has changed her in some ways that I feel like I just want her to be the Justine we all loved, and be free of that. And I know it, and I can only imagine how hard it is, because first of all, even taking that off the table, we're in a world where people are constantly judging us. And what she does as an influencer is she has to put herself out there. And some of the things I saw that were out there, like, which I'm not even really going to get into that much. I keep saying I'm not going to, but one day I am going to do a complete video on reality TV, and specifically Love Island colorism. But like, the idea that Caleb couldn't even be into her, like, or how ugly she was. I mean, just, it was nasty, some of the comments I saw. Now, don't get me wrong, like, obviously it was some lies told in that, but it was the idea that even just, we see it with Zeta and Timmy, and some people will straight say it and some people won't, but it's definitely, that's something, unfortunately, that hasn't been embedded into our culture. So as the seasons go on and you see, like, just the other girls come through, like last season, we had Cachet, we had Trina, and even though just all the girls, we take away, the girls come out, they become influencers and that, and it's just like, okay, well, this is cool, but you still feel like there's more potential. So honestly, and I'm gonna be truthful with y'all, because when Zeta came in, I was like, who is this British girl? I'm not gonna lie, I was with my little judgment. I was like, who is this British girl coming in thinking she's gonna be on Love Island USA? And who would have thought she would be my favorite? Like, I absolutely adore her. But what I adore the most about her, and I'm so prayerful that all the ladies, and even the guys, but especially the ladies, because we find them so much in these situations where they are becoming influencers, and you get influencers and you get caught in this reality, I guess, whirlwind where that's all you do. And so many of them are so talented. We look at Sally, and she can sing, and she has her single, which I absolutely adore. Cachet dances. We have all of them. And then I just feel like there's so much that we see them talk about, like being talked about, or being discussed in ways that are, just not flattering, how just some of the ugly things that have been said. And so I would love to see so many of the Islanders talk about that vulnerability and allow that just more, and just give us a little bit more, because they are so much more than the influencers that we see them become. And it's not to knock that, because it's definitely, you got to hustle, you got to do what you do, make your bread. But I want to see more. And so and I say that because it's easy to say in hindsight, but I absolutely adore what Zeta's doing. It has been so great because, like when you win, everybody's focused on, well, are they going to be together, or what's this? Well, he should have done this, or she should have done that, coulda, woulda, should, whatever. But to see her come out with something, and it's not even about the relationship, and it's something that is pouring into people, and that it's just, it speaks for her. It speaks for Oh, y'all know I'm talking a lot, but it speaks for her soul and it helps pour into other people. It's absolutely amazing. And it's actually to the point, of course, like I am rooting absolutely for Timmy and Zeta, but I don't care, y'all. Like if they don't work out, they don't work out, because I genuinely believe that they will both be okay. And especially Zeta. Zeta seems to have a great head on her shoulders, and she seems to be very self-aware. And I mean that spiritually, and I don't know, also it could be age also coming in a little bit older. She's seems really confident in herself, and she shares all these things of when she was not in this place. So it definitely was a journey. So it definitely sounds great to say, oh well, she's all these things and this, you know, the others are not, or whichever. So I'm not saying that at all, because we all go on our journeys and it's just how you get there. But I love that she shares it, y'all. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And to me, that's what Love Island is about for me. For me, like, I love the show. I love having connections. I love going back and forth with you guys. Like, you know, not necessarily back and forth, but, you know, having that banter with some, agreeing, like, you know, girl, let me tell you, or yes, this, that, you know, whatever, or being able to talk about mental health when we see those things coming up. But it's about the community of people. It's about, you know, being able to say, girl, like, you did good. Thanks for shouting me out, you know, just giving the love. And you know, and then going a step further, because the relationships can be built. I'm telling, like, I've definitely some women I've never met in life, which I do hope to meet someday, who, you know, definitely are comment or ask me things about my kids or different activities that I might do, because we're forming those relationships. So being able to just take different things out of something that maybe it seems so small and maybe you didn't see it coming, but being able to take and pour into yourself and pour into others from experiences. So Love Island may seem like something so small and so trivial, but it can, and this goes with anything, guys, like you can take something so small and something that you think is like the dumbest thing in the world, or just, you know, vain, or just, you know, silly. Like, this is my silly time, but you can pull from it. And so for me, I can't control what everybody else does, but I know for me, that is the community that I want to, you know, continue to create, and hopefully, you know, just continue to just all thrive on. So if you have not, definitely go check out Zeta's vlog. It is 100,000% worth every little penny, and I mean little penny. It doesn't cost much, y'all. So go support the girl, okay? Again, like I said, it doesn't matter. Team Zeta, Team Bria, Team whatever. It's Team you. Pour into yourself, and let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know what, you know, what brought you here, and let's see how we can further connect and create those connections and build upon and learn from one another. So I definitely cannot wait to hear from you guys. And let's talk about it. So if you have not, like I said before, take the 2 seconds, 1, 2, to go ahead and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the comments. Peace, love, so many blessings. And I can't wait to talk to you guys in the next video.